Charlie, when you look back at Royal Ascot 12 months ago, it was obviously a very different Royal Ascot, but I don't think things could have gone much better for you, could they?
No, it was a very good week. Although it started appallingly, we had a couple of horses run really badly, but then it finished surprisingly well. Onassis obviously won the Sandringham. She'll go back for more this year, and Chief of Chiefs won the Wokingham consolation race and goes back for more too. So it was a great week. It's such a hard week to have winners, and to have 3 winners in the last 2 years is something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, it's a great credit to you and your team, and obviously we're now at Bedford House Stables. Things have really expanded for you. I know that Royal Ascot has always meant an awful lot to you, and having winners there when you started was always sort of the dream, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if anything, I've probably been guilty of saving horses specifically for Ascot, and I think again this year we've done that. I've tried to run them sparingly so that they're peaking for Royal Ascot, and then afterwards anything else is a bonus. You know, Royal Ascot for me is the the pinnacle of racing globally, and to have a winner there is something that anyone should be very proud of. So we've got a team that have been targeted pretty much at Royal Ascot, and hopefully we can nick a winner somewhere along the line.
And because of what you were saying there then, does that mean you're going to Royal Ascot, and obviously we don't want to give it the commentator's curse, but you're looking at your team and the way you've trained them going into it, thinking, in all my years training, and there's not been loads, but this is the best team I've got going to the Royal Meeting?
Yeah, I think we've got a really strong team this year. I think we've got a nice team. We've got 60 horses in the yard, and I think we've got, at the moment, probably 8 runners ahead of next week, and that's pretty good for not the biggest yard in the world. And I think they all go there. They're not going there for the badges, let's put it that way. They're going there really with legitimate chances for to run a big race.
Yeah. Well, we know they're not going for the badges because you probably can't get badges given COVID.
Well, I think, yeah.
At Cheltenham, that's what Paul Nicholls said. He said, for the first time ever, I don't have to worry about running horses just for the sake of it. But look, it will be nice to have crowds back as well. They'll hopefully be cheering on your horses to victory. Let's start with Var Dream, because she ran a great trial for the Guineas and then backed it up by running a great race in the Guineas. She's really proving herself to be a top-level performer.
Yeah, and she's done this all off the back of one run last year. She's still a very inexperienced filly. I think she ran a blinder in the Fred Darling, and she ran an even better race in the Guineas on a track that I'm not convinced will suit her. She got slightly lost into the dip. Ascot will be right up her street. She'll love that track.
Did she answer that she stayed for you last time out?
No, she didn't. For me, she didn't. Jamie afterwards said, I'm not going to say she didn't stay, but she's got loads of speed. So I think she'll end up in the Jersey, okay. But we are in the Coronation as well. So we've got 2 options, but if you put a gun to my head now and said, where will you run? I'd say we'll probably end up in the Jersey. I think 7 at Ascot, that straight track will really suit her.
That's almost ideal for her, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is ideal for her. I think it's absolutely perfect for her.
And ground-wise, what would she want?
I think she'd be versatile. She's only run on quick ground so far, but I don't think I'd have any worries if there was a bit of ease in the ground. She's a very good mover. So straightforward, light on her feet, so I'd be pretty relaxed whatever the ground was.
She hasn't been placed yet in a Group 1, obviously, but she's got pretty much as close as you can do to being placed in a Group 1. If she runs in the Jersey, do you think she'll be better class than a lot of the horses she's taking on?
Well, she was beaten 2.5 lengths in the Guineas. Yeah. I looked through the last year's Jersey, actually this morning after I'd done the board, and I think if she'd ran in that race, she would have been up there with the favourites. So hopefully it's a similar sort of standard, and she can go and run a big race.
Chief of Chiefs was one of your winners at the meeting 12 months ago, and I watched that race back in preparation for this. I think he sort of bolted up in a way, like he won with so much up his sleeve. I know that there was a horse of Roger Charlton's that was perhaps a little bit unlucky, but take nothing away from your lad. Going back there, you must be really excited about seeing him back at Ascot.
I was, until I bumped into David Simcott this morning, and he was asking about my Royal Ascot horse. And I said, Chief of Chiefs have a great chance in the Wokingham, and he said, "Oh, horses never have a great chance in the Wokingham. It's a complete lottery," which really annoyed me a little bit. But I think he has a great chance in the Wokingham. He loves Ascot. He ran a blinder last time out in the Victoria Cup where the rain completely scuppered his chances. He goes on that ground, but it sort of blunts his. He doesn't quite have the stamina for a 7-0 on that ground. So dropping back to 6. He's got so much speed, he's got so much ability, he's working great. He loves a big field. The Wokingham is tailor-made, Spencer is tailor-made for him. I think, I don't care what David Simcock says, I think he's got a great chance in the race, and I'm really looking forward to him.
For those that don't know David Simcock, he's very negative, so he's very glass half empty. So.
Well, it's nice to see him finally run a horse. He's only just started running his horses this year.
Will he have a runner at Ascot, maybe?
They're probably not ready, they're just trotting.
The one thing I suppose that you do need a bit of luck at Ascot is the right side of the draw. So the draw will obviously be what kind of determines how good a chance he has. If you're drawn with pace and where the action's happening, then it'd be there or thereabouts.
Exactly, and last year we were drawn middle. William did exactly the right thing, came over to the stands rail where there seemed to be a little bit of a bias, and he came up there and had a dream run through. Obviously, you need a lot of luck in those big handicaps. You know, I'm not stupid. I realise that, and I'm sure that's probably what Cocky was getting, and was what he meant. But yeah, he has all of the right credentials for that race, and I'm convinced. If you look back on his run at Donny before Ascot, the form of that race has worked out unbelievably well, and he cruised through that race. And I think just Victoria Cup didn't go to plan. The rain, didn't help us. Back on a sounder surface, he's still improving, which is stupid because he's 7 years old, but he really is still improving.
But he's improving because he's now sort of being campaigned.
Because the trainer's got the trip right. Because the trainer's finally worked out what his trip is.
In a way, though, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You've done a brilliant job with him. A Royal Ascot winner. It just took you 4 years to work it out. Where are we at with Anastasia, Charlie? I saw a great photo of her on your social media, and she's back hoping to win at Royal Ascot again.
She is in good form. She came in much later than the others, which is why she's not had a prep run, but she didn't have a prep run last year for Royal Ascot, and it went well. So she is going to go for the Duke of Cambridge. So it's over course and distance. She won over last year. For her, just a mile, I think, is probably max stamina. So I wouldn't want it to be a really testing, ground. I'd like some, relatively nice, quick ground for her. She seems in good form. She's just slowly come to the boil. She's first couple of pieces of work this year, she just looked a little bit lethargic, a little bit off the tempo. And then her last 2 pieces of work, she's really come good. And I was delighted with how she went on Saturday. Hayley or Ryder, she gets on with her beautifully. She's won over course and distance, which I think is so key. And she's a Dubawi who should improve again as a 4-year-old, and we're really looking forward to her, not only just at Ascot, but I think for the rest of the year. She finished off last year, beaten, I think it was 3 lengths in the champion sprint. Having won a listed race on bottomless ground 6 days earlier, like, she is as tough as you get, and she is very, very, very talented. And if she can translate that form at the end of last year into this year, then she's going to be a really exciting filly.
Yeah. But because of the start of the season for her, coming to hand a little bit later means that actually Royal Ascot isn't the be-all and end-all with her.
Not so much, no. It's a really nice starting point, and obviously we'd love to go and win. But there are, she won 2 listed races last year. If we could win a group race with her this year, which she, if she's the same filly as she was last year, she should be up to doing, then allied with her pretty incredible pedigree, she's a very valuable property as a broodmare. Yeah.
Of your other runners at Royal Ascot, the one horse that I think you've always been incredibly bullish about, you know who I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah.
It's King Ottokar, and every time he runs, you go, I promise, like you're saying in all the media and all this stuff, and I've seen him, I see what you see to a certain extent, but he's not quite doing it on the track, and the sort of faith that you have in this horse hasn't quite yet been rewarded. Is that because he's just been unlucky, or B, he's proving a little bit frustrating when he gets there? Because
I think a bit of both. He has been since he won that conditions race at Newbury as a 3-year-old and put his name in the Derby picture, and everybody suddenly was like, right, this, this
horse, yeah.
he really is. He knows what he's talking about. This is a serious horse. Every single step from then has just been a bit unlucky. It's boring because I say this every time, but Chester in the Vars, he didn't stay. Ascot, if you watch the first half of the race at Ascot, having had the most perfect draw, and I think we were 6, he ended up 3 wide out the back because a horse on his inside ran blind and pushed us out. It is the most unfortunate turn of events. Yeah. And he then ran a huge race to finish 3rd, but it's impossible doing it that way. And then after then in the Sovereign at Salisbury, he got no run. And then COVID didn't help him at all. He had a very long period of time off. Right. He was a big horse. He put on a lot of weight. And in the spring of last year, where he fluffed his lines at Haydock and then at Ascot, where he just ran poorly. There were no excuses. He ran poorly. Yeah. But he was about 25 kilos heavier then than he is now and than he was the year before. And I thought he'd matured as a horse and just put the weight on naturally, but he just was not in the zone. Right. Mentally, he was not in the zone. So we gelded him. The headgear came on, and he then came back to himself. And he was a bit unlucky at Doncaster. He ran a blinder in the Balmoral where he was on the wrong side, and we were back on track. And again this year, it's been a little bit the same. We got a rattling quick Doncaster for the Lincoln where I should never have run him, my error. And then at Newbury the other day, in a little field, they split, which is, and obviously Roger's horse won nicely, but there must have been a golden highway up that road because he was just, and we did very well. We finished 3rd, beating a nose for 2nd, and I think that was more back to himself. So I think the Godolphin horse that beat us a nose is quite a good horse. So he is coming back. He's coming back.
You know the question I'm going to ask you now?
Yeah.
What's he going to do at Royal Ascot?
Well, I think a big field. I think a big field will really suit him.
The answer is that you fancy him, isn't it?
No, the answer is that I still believe he's better than a 97 horse or a 98 horse.
Okay.
That I believe firmly.
I just haven't heard you in all your time training, and I know you well, speak as glowingly about a horse as you ever had about. And you've had, you've in the however 5, 6 years, whatever it is, training, you've had some really good horses, but this is the one that.
He works so bloody well at home. If you
really
could see him gallop at home, you'd understand why. Right. And I don't believe that he is an out-and-out monkey. I can't have it. Yeah. I think he looks after himself, don't get me wrong, and he needs stuff in his favour. Yeah. And the ground is quite important, and obviously if it's quick ground at Ascot, we won't be running. Okay. But I still believe he is better than a 97, 98 horse. I think ridden patiently, big field, he will win a big one. Maybe the Balmoral is his race. Like that, that on soft ground is pretty much perfect for him.
Right. But he just needs the sort of stars to
align. It's got to all go. It's got to go right for him. It's just got to all fall right, and so far it just hasn't.
The story around Eve Lodge is nice. She's a off the bridle syndicate horse. So you and George Scott, I'm sure many people watching this will listen to the podcast. It's excellent. You did a brilliant interview with Sir Mark Prescott earlier this year, and some of the listeners sort of have come together and bought into the syndicate, and they've, well, to the eye, they seemingly have managed to get involved in a pretty serious animal, I think.
She is remarkable. She is. I hand on heart would say I've never trained a 2-year-old filly quite like her.
In what sense?
She is horizontal.
Really?
I mean, she's more laid back than you are, and that's saying something because you basically play golf every day and don't do a huge amount.
I like the sound of her.
She is literally the same.
Amazing.
She is remarkable.
Good, though, to have a horse like that?
Lovely. I mean, it makes my job so much easier. And she is remarkable. I bought her for 12 grand, 11 grand or something at Ascot sale. She was on a little short list that Will Douglas put together, and I went round, and she was the one I really liked, and I was feeling particularly brave at the time, so I bought her on spec.
Oh, right.
And I loved her.
Did you buy her with the syndicate in mind?
No.
Yeah.
No, I just bought her because I really liked her, and I thought if I can't sell a filly for 10 grand, then I'm really struggling. so yeah, and she qualifies for the GBB bonus as well, which means she won 23 grand last time for winning at Lingfield. And she's very, very, very good. I don't know how good she is, but she's seriously quick.
But her debut was, I mean, everyone thought it was, you could tell she had something about her then.
Debut was very good. And mine are not normally wound up.
No.
And then she won very impressively the other day at Lingfield. And I think they liked the second.
The front two pulled,
we pulled miles clear. And she's a really nice filly, but because she's so horizontal, I couldn't tell you how good she is. I know she's very good, but I don't know how good. And she looks.
Did you know she'd improved a lot from first run to second run? Could you see that, or is it literally like just a flat line the whole time?
Actually, if anything, I've seen more of a difference since Lingfield into here than I did from first to second run. I feel like she's switched on a little bit more. She worked on Saturday on the Lime Kilns and toyed with a lead horse before pulling clear. So
what's she going to run in?
Good question. Got options. She could run in anything, actually. She could go up to 6 if I wanted. She could stay at 5 for the Queen Mary. She could even run in the Windsor Castle if we thought both the fillies races looked hot. I think the Albany's looking like it might be the hottest of the three at the moment, so we'll probably swerve that, which means we have to take on Wesley's Ribchester filly, but who knows what that'd be out in there. And you can't go running from one horse. If the Queen Mary looks really, really hot, we could go for the Windsor Castle as well, and I think she'd be very competitive. I think she'd be very competitive any race. She's run very well on the track. The track again would suit her. I'm looking forward to her. She's exciting.
How many people are in the syndicate from the podcast?
There's 52 shares in it, and we didn't sell out. We sold about 30 of them, I think.
Is this a plug? Are you trying to?
No, she's not for sale anymore. Good luck. Yeah, you missed the boat. She's worth considerably more now. I think George and I will keep the rest of those shares. Yeah.
Right. But that's great for those people involved in that. It's a brilliant way that you and George have brought people into racing.
Yeah, and it happened last year as well, because Charlie Fellowes was the horse was, you know, is very good, and he's going to run at Royal Ascot too.
Oh, brilliant.
In the 5 furlong race for 3-year-olds. So, you know, he costs 10 grand. She's cost. We've done it 2 years in a row. 2 horses at Ascot is not a bad going.
No, that's excellent.
I bought both of them as well.
I was going to say George didn't have anything to do with buying them. Finally, if you can just give us a sort of summation of the other runners. I think you've got the likes of Jeremiah and a few others running. Any horses that we need to keep on the right side of?
Two in the Duke of Edinburgh. Jeremiah, who won over course and distance last year, rated 97. It'd be on the verge of getting in, but I think he should do. I was really pleased with his prep run the other day at Thirsk, where he hit the front probably a bit too soon and just got collared by, I think, 2 nice horses. The plan was always to have one run, a nice gap, and then into Ascot, because he just has bit of a monkey, he is, and he has to think about it. So I don't want to over race him. The plan was always to come here, big field and a nice pace to suit him. And Pirate King, who is yet to run on turf for me, won all 4 races at Lingfield. He has a bit to answer just for that reason, but he won his maiden on turf. I wanted to get a prep run into him, but I missed it, and he just wasn't quite ready. So he went for a racecourse gallop at Chelmsford with Dubious Affair, who's also going to run last week, and he actually looked really good. My concern with him is whether all of his winning has been done left-handed, and whether right-handed round Ascot, whether that would suit him, but he'd want quick ground. And Dubious Affair will run in the Mile 6 race. She could be interesting. She was really progressive last year, ended up being 4th, a little bit unlucky at Doncaster in a Group 2, and then ran in the Champion Stairs race on bottomless ground and hated it. If she gets quick ground, she really could. I think she'll be better over 2 miles, but I think she's done very well over the winter. She's a big filly. Jamie was really impressed with her at Chelmsford the other day, and she looks. She's interesting, definitely.
It sounds like you've got a really good team talking to you there, and as always, I wish you the best of luck. There's horses coming out now, so we might get run over, so I'm going to let you go and do declarations. And as I say, on behalf of everyone at Sporting Life, we wish you all the best at Royal Ascot next week. Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks very much, Ollie.